Heart thief. Ira flexed her fingers as she ran one more simulation. Come on. Come on. She muttered under her breath, her bottom lip between her teeth. She watched helplessly at her monitor as the simulated version of her kept tripping the alarms on the museum piece she'd been planning to steal the last 4 months. Being a thief was just her hobby, she liked to tell herself. She was always planning at least 3 to 4 jobs a year. Stealing priceless possessions and returning them back to their rightful owners. Her partner was an android named GX1, gifted to her when she was 16 by her tech genius of a father. GX1 was like an older brother and was always disapproving of her hobby, but he always helped. She knew he didn't like this job even if he knew what it meant to her. His vintage black shades covered his eerie human eyes and his metal face. He had no mouth or nose. A plexiglass piece displayed a digital mouth instead. He wore a red Hawaiian shirt today that was from the same era as the piece she wanted to steal from the American History Museum of the 20th century. Don't say anything, she told him, pointing a finger at him. Her brown eyes serious. He shrugged, his metal bunching the fine material of the shirt. He stood just over 6 feet 5 inches, leaning against the wall in her secret study. I've been saying since you started that this wasn't a good idea. No one has successfully stole from there this century, he stated plainly. Ira slammed the keyboard table, the screen turning off. GX1 sighed in his deep voice, coming over to inspect the damage. Ira moved out the way, only slightly sorry. I can't let them keep it, GX1. I can't, you know why. He stood up straight, looking over. I know. But you always said not to make a theft personal. This is personal. I also know you won't stop. So I suggest doing a walkthrough in person again. Maybe you'll see something we've missed. Ira looked down, nodding. She hated visiting the location too many times, but GX1 was right. She needed fresh eyes. Going to her closet, she donned her current disguise and mentally readied herself. Oh, it's okay, darling. Go. I remember those days. I'll be back tomorrow for your opening. Esther gave him a hug. Her anxiety pitched up as she remembered her first encounter with Ms. Stone. It hadn't been the best and was extremely brief. So she approached her cautiously. Ms. Stone. I wasn't expecting you until tomorrow night. She turned around and Esther near gasped at her raw beauty. She had caramel skin that was complementary to her dyed red hair. She also had an blue iris contacts which made her even more stunning, her dark eyebrows narrowing as Esther approached. Hello, Ms. Young. I wasn't expecting you here so late. Since I'm a donor to this museum, the security droids let me in. Long as I wear this bracelet tracker so I can log in and out. Esther cleared her throat. Yes, that's the protocol. May I ask why you're here? Her unwavering gaze glued to Esther's as if she seemed to see into the depth of her. All of her secrets and insecurities. I wanted to see it one last time before it was shown to the world. However, you haven't displayed it yet. So I lose again. Esther's heart sank. She saw the raw grief in her eyes. I'm sorry, Miss Stone. If there was anything I could do, you could let me see it. She interrupted, pleading with her, stepping into Esther's personal space, grabbing her hands. She held on to Esther's hand, staring into her gaze. Esther froze as something passed between them. An awareness of sorts. Ms. Stone immediately dropped Esther's hands, a perplexed look on her face. I'm sorry, Ms. Young. Forgive my desperation. Esther exhaled the breath she was still holding once Ms. Stone had touched her. It's okay. I understand. Tell you what, since you are a donor, you do have other privileges. I could still lose my job, but just follow me. Surprising them both, Esther took the other woman's hand and led her to the back. Ira couldn't believe her luck. Esther the curator was literally leading her into the back. This was information she'd never get otherwise. She couldn't steal her father's piece right here, but she'd get a better idea on how to. Also didn't hurt that Esther was unbelievably cute in that unassuming way. Short pixie cut black hair. Her slanted eyes were extremely soulful, her cheekbones sculpted high, olive skin blemish-free. She wore a simple modern gray pantsuit with a white blouse beneath her jacket. She also had an unexpected sun tattoo on her inner wrist. Tattoos were taboo these days. So, was this Esther Young a bit of a rebel too? Ira logged that information into her brain as she observed her surroundings. Like where the cameras were she didn't know about as Esther led her into the back pathways. Esther wore her own security bracelet tracker that she used on the door scanners. They glowed green and hissed open their nondescript black doors. Eventually, they were in an open room. No doubt Esther's workspace from her plaque outside the door. Ira liked Esther's style. She had a lot of paintings and trinkets from all ages. Her furnishings were wood-carved and mahogany, with slight modern accents and tech modifications. All of that was lost on her, as she saw what all her hard planning was for on Esther's work table, out in the open. No locked safe? No security? Ira asked, confused. Esther smiled. My office is one of the hardest places to get into. If I weren't in here with you and somehow you got in, it'd locked down. Nothing in or out. You couldn't even just use my bracelet, it's encoded to my biometrics. Your father's piece is safe though. I promise. Plus to everyone else in this 30th century, its value is priceless. Ira's eyes teared up, threatening to spill over. To me it's not priceless. Esther instantly regretted her word choice, her face flushing. I'm sorry, Miss Stone. It's not priceless to me either. In fact, I know why it means so much to you. Rushing over, Esther went to her display desk and turned it on. Ira watched as her fingers danced on the flat blue keys till something popped up on the clear digital projector screen. Ira froze as Esther turned the image around so it faced her and the image started playing on the display. It's true that most cellular devices of the 20th century are inaccessible. Most of their memory chips and internal memories are corrupted and incompatible to our tech. Your father, however, was a brilliant man and adapted his. It's why we wanted it. But these videos on it are yours. Ira just gazed on as the video of her and her father playing chess continued on. His charming voice playful. She was 7 there. That video ended and another started. This one she was a teen. 16, she hadn't ever seen this one. In it she was getting ready for a dance. He was telling her how beautiful she was. And she was annoyed. Tears ran down her face as his voice filled the room. This was before he died. Ira said softly. His last video before we were hit coming back home from my violin orchestra practice the next day. I never seen this. My stepmother took the phone. Kept it locked up. Esther slowly walked over. A glass memory chip reader in her hand. I know you didn't want the cell phone displayed. And when I went through everything I knew why. He filled this whole thing with videos of you. From baby to teenager. He documented you. Yes, your father created our new telecommunication devices from reworking this old one. Yet all of that data was you. So I made a copy of it. I planned on giving it to you tomorrow night at the opening. Now is better, I feel like. Here, Esther didn't know how Ira Stone would react to her gift. So she stood there nervously as she placed the memory chip in her hands. You did this for me? Ira asked her quietly. Esther shifted uncomfortably under her gaze. If you feel it's a privacy invasion, I apologize. It's just no one should see this. These belong to you. I can't give you the phone. But this is everything on it. From his notes. To his pictures. Now it's yours. And we won't display any of it. I promise. Esther watched as Ira placed the memory chip in her coat pocket. Then she just closed her eyes, and Esther didn't know what to do. Are you okay, Miss Stone? Esther asked worriedly. Please call me Ira. Well, call me Esther. Are you okay? Ira nodded, taking off her cream coat and placing it on the chair beside her. Esther watched as Ira removed her blue iris contacts. Then she took off her hair that Esther didn't know was a wig. Her natural hair fell down in long dark waves. She was even more stunning than Esther had originally thought. I'm feeling more free than I've felt in years, Esther. Do you know what I want right now? Esther numbly shook her head no as Ira approached her. Ira eased into Esther's personal space once more. May I give you a kiss of thanks, Esther? I don't know what a kiss of thanks is, Ms. Ira's full lips pulled into a slow seductive smile. Can I kiss you, Esther? You've stopped me from doing something very stupid. And I find myself grateful, and I've already been attracted to you. So may I kiss you, Esther Young, before your smart brain overthinks it? Esther felt her heart racing as she stared at Ira's red lips and her honey brown eyes. You may kiss me. Ira didn't wait as she reached over behind Esther's neck, pulling her into her waiting lips. They both moaned as their lips slid across each other like wet satin pillows. Their bodies flushed together, heat building as the kiss deepened and flooded desire between them. Esther hadn't ever been kissed like this before. By anyone. She couldn't tell how long they kissed until a security droid knocked on the door. It was way past her time to clock out. Ira touched her face tenderly. You've given me something no one has. I can only hope to repay you. Are you busy tonight? Esther helped her into her coat. I don't need repayment, but a nightcap sounds wonderful. Ira's voice lowered. A nightcap it is then. Shall we? Esther shut down her office. We shall. Ira couldn't seem to keep her hands off Esther as they crashed into her swanky high-rise apartment. They had a late dinner and a couple drinks. Then ended up here. Kissing. Nice place, Esther mumbled as Ira removed her own coat and then Esther's. She moved so deftly Esther couldn't help but be enamored. You're so beautiful. Ira paused, holding Esther's face. So are you. Yet enough talking. She took Esther's hand and led her through her place. Once in her room, she made sure they didn't talk much. And they didn't all night. Ira woke as something moved her. She woke to GX1's eerie human blue eyes looking down at her. Sorry to wake you, Iraline, but we've got a problem in your secret study. Noticing Esther's missing body, panic rose in her chest. She was going to jail. Running, she quickly got to her study to see a wide-eyed Esther looking at all of Ira's carefully crafted plans to rob the museum tonight. Esther's museum. Esther was just in her thong and completely unbothered by her partial nudity. I can explain. Ira started. You're the Robin Hood museum thief. Esther replied stoically. Ira frowned. I guess I don't need to explain. Is that why you kissed me? To get access or something? Ira scoffed. No. I never planned on kissing you. Or even seeing you tonight, Esther. This was all unplanned, or I would have made sure this door was locked. I was looking for the bathroom. Esther said, looking at Ira's virtual model of the museum. Are you going to turn me in? Ira asked her, saliva thick in her throat as she tried to swallow down her worry. Esther met her gaze evenly. She was angry and confused. I don't know what I want to do. You're a criminal, Ira. Not some fledgling socialite like everyone thinks you are. Your hair isn't even red. At this, she laughed, rubbing her face. I need time to think. Which sucks, because all I want to do is kiss you again. Touch you. I like you. Like I have butterflies even now. Ira stepped forward. Then stay. Let's talk it out. I like you too. Esther took a step back. I need space, Ira. I have to go. With that, she rushed past Ira and GX1 in the hallway. He came in after, his blue eyes empathetic. I'm sorry, Iraline. I was charging when you guys came in. I didn't shut the door to the study. Ira shook her head. It's okay, GX1. It's not your fault. It's just my luck is all. Esther shook her last hand for the night as she thanked the staff for a successful opening of the cellular exhibit with Ira's father's phone front and center. It was a hit for the technology junkies and history buffs. She wanted to feel pleased with herself, but all she kept thinking about was Ira Stone. The way she touched her. Kissed her. The way Ira made her feel was beyond anything she had felt in 33 years. This woman was different, yet she was a thief. Stealing from the same museums she donated her father's fortune to. She was even going to steal from this one. Still she wanted Ira. She had wanted her to show up tonight, though Esther was sure it was the fear of jail that kept her away. Is it too late to win your heart? Esther turned and there Ira stood in a cream-white dress. It hugged her curves in all the right places. Gone was her red-haired wig and blue contacts. She stood as herself. Beautiful and dangerous. I didn't think you'd show. Esther said hesitantly. Ira shrugged, drawing attention to her ample bust. I didn't know if you wanted to see me or arrest me. Esther sighed. You in handcuffs would be a heavenly sight. Ira's gaze penetrated hers. I thought about last night all day. I want you to know that no matter what happens, everything was real and genuine. I like you, Esther Young. More than I've liked anyone in a long time. Esther looked away, her heart clenching. She heard Ira's footsteps and couldn't handle it. Don't you dare leave, Ira. Not after you touched me like you did. You don't get off that easy. Esther rushed to her, pulling her into her body. Ira searched her gaze with a vulnerability that stole Esther's breath. I think I already love you, Ira said, running her thumb across Esther's bottom lip. Esther shivered. I do too. You stole my heart. Now stop talking, you thief, and kiss me. Ira did just that.